Can someone also check on Breeze if she's joining the meeting or not?
Yeah, I can check on her, but maybe we should wait a couple
I
minutes.
see Breeze in the attendee list. I think she just needs to be promoted.
Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm so sorry. My internet is like shit. So yeah. I'm doing this from my phone. Apologies. I'm gonna try to like log in from my laptop later today, but yeah. Let me check for quorum. Okay. Yeah, I think we have quorum already. Okay, I call this meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. Can I have amendments to the agenda? So I'll go ahead and start off. Can I add a discussion on elections board and elections code being handled this past week?
Yeah, I will add that.
And can I add also a discussion on care advocates and administrators handling of cases?
I just added that one. Let me know if I got that right. And then Jane.
Hi, can I just Sorry, can I just strike TGIF?
Yeah. And then Tay.
Can I add 3 bylaw changes? Sorry, guys. Actually, it might just be 2. Hold on. Okay, I'll strike. Wait, did you guys hear me? Was I like muted the entire
time? Muted.
Oh my goodness. Okay, can I add 3 different bylaw changes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are you able to list out the bylaw changes so I can add it to the agenda?
Yes, my bad. Diverse SWC committee edition. DIBER SWC. And then oh shoot. Sorry guys. I think I'm blinking. My laptop is crashed too. Hold on 1 second. My bad, guys.
Okay, no problem. You can also type it in the chat and then I can add it before we end amendments.
Thank you.
Wait, quick question, Tay. Did you send me those bylaw changes?
No. Wait, do I have to
Yeah, I
beforehand?
was just going to make a quick comment on that. This is Patty.
Okay.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, everyone. Just for any bylaw changes, they need to be sent out at least 1 week in advance so everyone has time to review them and we have time to research to make sure that the changes don't affect any changes elsewhere in the bylaws. So if we are going to move forward with the vote on bylaw changes without the 1 week notice, we'll have to suspend your bylaws and have a vote of the council.
Okay. I'll just send it. I'll send it and then I'll put it on the agenda for next week. Thank you, Patty.
No problem.
Jenny.
Hi, can I strike capital contingency allocations? Thank you.
Yeah. I think they're it's not even on the agenda for some reason. Sarah. Or
Oh, sorry. Did you call me?
Yeah.
Can I strike bag, please?
Okay. Got it. And then promise.
Can I strike ARC, please?
Yeah. Where is it? Okay, that's weird. I think it was deleted too for some reason. Um, okay, and then I'm going to change my report to written because I'm still kind of resting my voice right now. Is there any more amendments? Oh, I think Breeze is in the attendees list.
Okay, so did we go over all of the changes, Cass?
I think that was all the changes. We just need to get it approved.
Okay, awesome. So with that, can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I move to approve the agenda for April 26th.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Emily motions, Tay seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, great. By a vote of 13 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the agenda for this week is approved. Great. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. I hope everyone had a chance to review last week's minutes. The date should be April 19th. Can I get a motion for the approval of last week's minutes?
I move to approve the minutes for last week,
Can I get a second?
for April 19th.
No, you're good. Second?
I second.
Maya motions, Tay seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, I'm missing one hand. Jane, sorry. Thank you. By a vote of 13 to 0 to 0, the motion passes and the agenda for this week is approved. The approval, last week's minutes are approved. Great. Moving on to public comment. Public comment is a time for any member of the public that would like to speak to council to have the opportunity to voice any concerns. Remember to use respectful language, use gender inclusive language. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom from accountability. And with that, I will go ahead and open up public comment. Go ahead and raise your hand and you will be promoted. And please keep your hand raised and I will go ahead and call on you when you have been promoted. Thank you. Okay. Hold on. I can't see the hand, but I think it was Clara.
Yes, it is. Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Clara. I'm the newly elected chapter chair of CalPIT students here at UCLA, and I just have some quick updates. So we finished our pledge drive a couple of weeks ago, and we hit our goal of signing up 300 new students as pledging members in the spring. And overall for the year, we've signed up 2,500 new members who pledged to add the $10 CalPIT fee, which allows us to work on our campaigns and win. We've also been holding lobby meetings with the offices of LA City Council members this week and last week for our Beyond Plastics and Clean Transportation campaigns. So for plastics, we recently got the LA County Board of Supervisors to commit to phase out single-use plastics. So we want the LA City Council to adopt the same thing as well to encompass all of LA County. The City Council frequently does things like this, so the meetings have been going really well, and we've been making a lot of progress, and we hope to get a lot done before the end of the year. And also for our Clean Transportation campaign, they've been really positive about expanding LA's electric vehicle infrastructure. So that's really great as well. And then lastly, CalPIRG is governed by a statewide board of directors with students from all of our chapters, and we make decisions about things like what campaigns we want to run and approve our budget and policy positions. And in addition, we have an executive committee which leads the board. And on Saturday during our board meeting, we held elections for the 6 members of the executive committee, and 2 UCLA students were elected. So Christian, our vice chair and New Voters Project campaign coordinator, was elected treasurer, and I'm the new chair of our board of directors. We're both really excited to represent UCLA at the state and national level. So that's what we've sort of been doing the past week, and thanks for listening. Look forward to coming back next week.
Thank you so much, Clara. And I think Sarah needs to be promoted. So with that, public comment going once, going twice, and with that, public comment closes at 7:15 p.m. Great, moving on to funding. Jenny, contingency?
Hi. Yes, we have allocations for this week. Let me drop the link in the chat. So this week we have $14,464.79 to 28 non-USAC entities. Again, we had to cut allocations by 15% this week, unfortunately, due to limited funds, but I am hopeful that we'll have enough money until the end of the year, at least to allocate every organization a little bit. And then, yeah, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. And please remember to submit all of your applications 21 days before the event, especially now as the quarter is wrapping up.
Awesome, thank you, Jenny. Can I get a motion, please? Please.
I move to,
Thank you.
yeah, I move to approve $14,464.79 for 28 non-USAC entities.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I second.
Emily motion, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. By a vote of 10-0. Wait, if someone hasn't raised their hand, okay. Josh, if someone hasn't raised their hand, it's 10-0 to 1, right?
It depends on how they vote. You should ask if they want to decline
Okay.
the vote.
No,
or to-
they're good now. By a vote of 12-0 to 0, the motion, the contingency program for this week is approved. SFS, Momina?
Hi everyone. So this week we have a total of $4,045.84 to 5 non-CSC orgs and 1 CSC org. I'll put that in the chat as well.
Okay, are there any questions or objections? If not, thank you so much, Momina. Moving on to ASRF, Angie?
Everyone, for ASRF this week, we allocated $7,636.82 to 3 non-USAC entities.
Thanks, Ange. Any questions? If not, TGMF, Ange?
For TGMF, we allocated $512.21 to 1 non-USAC entity.
Awesome. Any objections? If not, we're good to go. Moving on, we have no more funding. So officer reports, wow, we reached this pretty quickly. I guess for officer reports, we have just been wrapping up our office and making sure that we have transition documents built up. In the COVID response and recovery task force meeting, we had discussions around a new email being sent out to students regarding wearing masks. Because cases are on the rise, there is worry that we want to make sure that, especially our graduating seniors have access to an in-person graduation. So there was discussion today about sending out a strong recommendation to the student body in regards to wearing a mask. So that will probably be sent out later this week by Friday. And yeah, that's it from my office. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Sarah. Sarah?
I think Tay said in the chat if we can go back to SWC
Oh
programming.
my
though.
gosh, I'm so embarrassed, Tay. Tay?
Sorry guys, I don't know what is going on with my computer today. Yeah, so basically SWC allocated $2,515 to 5 non-USAC entities. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Tay. Okay, I think we're done with funding for now. Okay, Sarah?
Yes, thank you, Breeze. Yeah, so my office is also just wrapping up. We're figuring out some logistics since we'll be traveling up to Berkeley on May 7th for the last UCSA board meeting of the year. Time really flies. And the 9 EVPs will also be selecting the next student regent. So if anyone has any qualifications or preferences they'd like to see in their next student regent, feel free to message or email me. We've also been working on the big mayoral town hall coming up. So we've moved it back to May 9th, and now it's going to be televised through Univision. And we're working on getting all of the top 5 candidates approved. We're still working on Rick Caruso, but fingers crossed he pulls through. And then aside from that, the last big funding opportunity outside of Bruin Advocacy Grant will be the Trailblazer Scholarship. So we're going to release apps hopefully in this next week, which is figuring out some last details with financial aid. And that will be a one-time scholarship award of around $2,000. And we're still finalizing details, but excited to put that out there. And that is about it for my office this week. I'll pass it on to Angie. My office this week, we finalized the TILT Social Justice Mentorship Program that we've been working on for the past few months. We had our final facilitation meeting on Sunday. So we're just working on getting funding to the social justice orgs and projects that students created. My office is also finishing up planning our study social event with our raffle and a chance to win a Grammarly subscription for a year. We're also currently working on our Inside Out Study Space event to launch the launch of the OccuSpace app with the sensors in the libraries that will notify students of the capacity levels of the library. And then other than that, my office is also working with Project Bruin to put on an academic workshop for youth as part of the CSC's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ange. Great. Moving straight into admin reps. Jessica?
Hi all. Just a quick reminder as you're working on your transition documents for your office, please send me a copy so that we can save it to our SGS documents just as a additional backup in case if anything happens to your electronic copy. But yeah, feel free to email those over, or if you have it in like a Google Drive, you can share it. I have my work email set to a Google Drive, so you can just share it with Jay Alexander at ASUCLA and I'll get it that way. And then if anybody has any questions about transition docs or anything that you're trying to prep as you prepare to leave office, definitely let me know. And yeah, congrats on almost being done with your year.
Period. Thank you, Jessica. George?
Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. I don't have any updates. Apologies for missing last week's meeting. I know Gloria made a good presentation for you all, but if folks have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, George. Josh?
No updates this week, thank you.
Okay. Orlando?
Hello, everyone. No updates today.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let everyone know we had such a great movie night with CEC last week. So I just wanted to do a shout out and thank you for the collab, and looking forward to another one coming up in May. And also really excited to have the opportunity to work with the EVP on the mayoral town hall. So that'll be here just around the corner. So hopefully y'all can swing by and check out all of Sarah's hard work and her team. That's it.
Thank you, Patty. Great. So moving on to new business. Wait, like this isn't reloading. LOL. Sorry, guys. I guess if we could go ahead and wait, Tay, you were gonna make amendments, right? Or because you haven't submitted it?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. So I guess we can start off with you, Ange, AAC Travel Grant Mini Fund.
Yeah. Does Dakota want to present it? I think he's in the waiting room.
I'm promoting him right now.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was having a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue. Could I be brought up to speed for really quickly?
I think we're presenting the bylaw change right now. I can also present it too.
For the Travel Grant Mini Fund?
Yes.
So yeah, so one of the things that we ran into this past week is that the old bylaws for the Travel Grant Mini Fund have a restriction where flights need to be booked on like US domestic airlines. And there's been a couple issues this quarter, especially where students have been applying for study abroad programs that are, very beneficial for their well-roundedness and just like the academic success, and being able to explore other programs, especially as a global studies major is one of the major like groups that have been applying. So we are proposing to modify the bylaws that to allow like non-domestic like US based flights in order to like also increase the Travel Grant Mini Fund's reach, because it's more cost effective that way as well.
Awesome. Wait, do you want to present it or do you want to like just keep it like that? I'm not sure, like, or folks can just review it. I'm not sure how that would work.
I don't think CRC has received this bylaw change. We voted on the ones that we had received like right before meeting today, but I don't have that bylaw change.
Yeah. Okay, then I don't think that we can vote on it, unfortunately. So I'm so sorry for that, Dakota and Ange. I think like y'all can bring it next week. I know like I'm also bringing forth stuff next week because it's like our last week. So
if y'all send it, CRC can meet this weekend or something before next meeting, and then we can like make sure. And that goes for any bylaw change that is outstanding. I didn't realize that next week is our last meeting. That's kind of crazy, but yeah. So just if you have a bylaw change, just send it to me before.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't think that we have anything else to review. So I guess can someone text Palmer? I don't know if like, I know I said 7:45, but I think if not, we should just go straight into the discussion on care advocates and administrators handling cases. Okay, so I guess like I'm gonna open up the floor. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion surrounding elections this year. And, myself as president, like I've been made aware of a lot of situations. And I want to start off by saying that this whole center like discussion around SA, the student survivor themselves did not want their case coming forward, and had made that very clear to several people. They made that clear to their care advocate, and they asked their care advocate to reach out and see if administrators can have a discussion with USAC about not distributing like any information, or to like better handle the situation. And at which point there is discussion right now that the care advocate let the student know that they had emailed an administrator within ResLive, and that individual was supposed to have talked to us. So I want to open up the room. Was anyone reached out to this past week regarding this case? I don't know. Yeah, Tay. So has anyone been in contact with anyone from Residential Life regarding how cases have been handled, or how the case that is the big topic of discussion for this week is being handled, and how USAC has handled it?
I haven't. Yeah, no. I'm also an RA too, so I would expect. I don't know. Yeah, no, I have not been contacted.
Yeah. So I guess this kind of brings up the question, and I kind of want to hear from our administrators a bit as to why there was no discussion around it, because we were informed that the administrator had informed the care advocate that we had been spoken to April 12th. And I know that there was a discussion April 12th with myself. However, I don't think there was a discussion over how the case was being handled. And this has not been survivor centered whatsoever. Yeah, so I kind of want to open the door for administrators to maybe speak on this. Because we're students and we're kind of taking on this labor on top of everything else that we have to do. And honestly, I'm very upset because I've been told that I need to kind of take care of it, or that I need to have some sort of special session with counsel, when really I am a 21-year-old student. It is not my duty to be handling the university's business. And I've continually had to do this all year. I mean, I have to do this at Murphy. I have to hold administrators accountable all the time. But with this case and how sensitive it was and how this is being spread for a student that didn't want their case out there, I just really want to hear from administrators at this time.
Breeze, I'm just walking to an area where I can have an open conversation because I'm in the middle of the candidates debate.
Sounds good. Thank you.
So what I could tell you is that I reached out to that care advocate this afternoon, and we clarified the conversation in which you are talking about. There were a few people that needed to be discussed with, and that's really all I can say in a public venue. So I did have conversations with certain folks, and it was clarified by that care advocate of who I should have those conversations with. Outside of that, because of confidentiality reasons, I can't say anymore.
Okay. I appreciate that. I guess now my question is why haven't y'all been assisting us through this situation? I know that y'all have been present, but it's very stress inducing. I don't think y'all understand how many students have had anxiety attacks. I mean, this whole year I've spent really on edge. Honestly, this position has taken me to one of the lowest points in my life. I've been depressed. It's ridiculous. And with that being said, I just want to know why again y'all have left us alone to deal with this, and why no one has spoken up. And at this point, I don't understand why this hasn't been taken as seriously as it should be. And I know Josh, you're not the only one. There's other administrators on top of that, but I really feel the only reason that y'all reached out or y'all kind of assisted was because I pressed very hard. And I feel like when other students press, like it's not taken as seriously. Like it's like when Bree says something or people are afraid that Breeze is gonna like out them, like that administrators move. So that's where I stand on this. Promise?
Yeah, I was also just gonna say, like, I think I'm just like tired of like us having to like fall on the sword when like behind the scenes, like we're not being informed properly. When things started to escalate and someone on like a person on council who is not here today, decided to address the situation that had nothing to do with them. And it was responded to, like, I'm like, that should have been handled by y'all to make sure that this person isn't spreading information. Instead, like we've had to try and like tell this person not to, who has been harassing, who has been berating, who has been causing harm to various women on this council, despite what some other council members might think. Um, but that has been occurring and nothing has been done. So I think it's just like, and yes, I would really love some accountability here.
Thank you, Promise. And
I also wanted to chime in. So the survivor had told me multiple times when she confided in me that she did not want her story to be public for her own healing because it was something very traumatic that she went through. And she reiterated that to me when the council members sent me that email on April 12th. And at that point, she was afraid for her safety and afraid that individuals would contact her and try to get in touch with her. And so she went directly to her care advocate to try to minimize harm for herself and so that she could heal. And essentially, she had asked Res Life and she had asked Josh to have a conversation. Her care advocate had asked Josh to have a conversation with council members to make clear to not make this public so that she could heal and so that she would not get dragged into this. And that email from her care advocate was sent to Josh on April 14th. And Josh said that he would have a conversation with us, but since he stated that, he has not had a conversation. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that. And the survivor has given me permission to share this information. I also have a screenshot of the email that her advocate had sent to Josh. I will not be reading that email publicly here, but I do have it for after, if anyone, for a conversation afterwards.
okay. I think Carl needs to be promoted. Someone can go ahead and promote him. And with that, I mean, yeah, I just want to hear a bit as to why this is like being handled as it is. Like, I feel like all year I've been carrying the weight of a lot of this, like of a lot of things that happen on council. And honestly, I'm tired of like that. And I really don't like the way, like, I feel like I have to handle a lot of like this stuff alone. And I mean, council members also express the same thing, but I feel like I've had to like, deal with like different things, and it's like very difficult at this point. The fact that no accountability is ever taken by even like administrators that are supposed to be supporting us. So I don't know if someone can like speak on this, please.
Sorry, my internet cut out. I apologize. I did not log off. I am in the Carnicel. I'm sorry. I'm in the Bradley Plaza room. I tried to find a space that I could speak openly, so my apologies on that. So I did miss a little bit of it, but I think that there was a bit of a disconnection that took place with what CARE stated and what I can actually do. So I did meet with the CARE advocate today, and the CARE advocate did have a conversation with me that the people that have contacted me are the people who I needed to speak with. Now that might be a little bit different than what the CARE advocate said themselves, but I just wanted to be very transparent on that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Jane's asking in the chat if you can speak louder. I don't know if Josh you can, like because of like the room that you're in. Carl, is that your hand to be promoted, or did you want to speak?
I wanted to speak. Can I speak?
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry.
Thank you. First off, good evening, everyone. I just kind of wanted to address something that was brought up about me and basically the email that is going around. Well, first off, I want to say thank you to everybody for sharing their stories. Obviously, survivors are very important. As someone with, a mother and 5 sisters, I've always taken the safety of women very importantly. So I just wanted to tell my side of the story because I just hate when people try to make me come out to, to be the monster or something. So a couple of weeks ago, around like April 12th, I think it was April 12th, April 11th, two of my staff members, two women, my team is 80% women, reached out to me and told me that they had been hearing rumors that an individual associated with the academic affairs team and just USAC in general.
Carl, respectfully.
No, can I finish? Can I finish?
No, I'm just trying to say, like, the survivor has said that they do not want this specific, their specific story.
I understand this. I'm not telling the specific story. I'm not saying names right now. I'm not saying names or specifics. I don't know names. I don't know the person. I don't know the specifics of the allegation. I'm just telling you my side of the story. I'm just putting you in my shoes for a second, okay? So around April 11th, April 12th, two of my women staffers, all right, of my team of 80% women came to me and said, Carl, listen, we've been getting, we just got a report that this rumor that originated from Breeze, that an individual is accused of sexual assault, and basically he's still on the academic affairs team, and it seems like nothing has been done. This is what they told me. Nothing has been done. He's still on the team. There's no accountability. Okay. As someone who takes sexual assault very seriously, I spoke with them about this, and I could see the fear in their eyes for one, but I can also see that they were looking for me to get accountability. They weren't just confiding this in me and being like, hey, Carl, I'm just confiding this in you. They were like something needs to be done about this, okay? And so I had two options. The one option was I just shut up and just, hey, I'm sorry, it's nothing I can do about it. Or the second option was to reach out to the individuals involved, right? And ask them, hey, I understand that you already know about this. What has been done? Because there are other individuals that are continuing to hear about this. And my thing is, obviously the survivor didn't want her story out. Then why did it get out? I'm not friends with the survivor. The two individuals that came and told me on my team, they're not friends. They're not friends with her. No, can I finish? I need to finish. They're not.
This is literally not the space. We're talking about how administrators have handled the CARE advocates. No one is saying their side of the story.
So, folks, this is what I'll say.
Can I finish?
Carl, if I could just jump in real quick. The only thing I'll say to this is this. This cannot and should not be a platform. The one thing that CARE and the administrators did agree on is that everyone needs to stop talking about this. There are proper reporting models that everyone must go through, including CARE, Title IX, and Dean of Students. You all are required reporters. If you have information, you should be bringing that forward. I know this has become a point of contention with all candidates, or most candidates, for this council and has become a point of contention among the upcoming election. What I would say from here on out, and again, if there are election violations, I cannot move forward with those. My role as the USAC admin advisor is to tell you all where the appropriate places to report are located. If there is Title IX or sexual assault or sexual harassment policies that are being broken, they must be reported to Title IX immediately. If anyone needs confidential advocacy, there is CARE. And if there is a conduct violation that is happening, that needs to be reported to the Dean of Students. This forum, and at least USAC Live, is not an appropriate place for us to be having this conversation. I know that many of you do not believe that administration is working fast enough, and I hear and understand that frustration. What I do want to make very clear is administration is aware through the reporting that has been done over the past couple of weeks on a variety of different conduct and Title IX issues, and those are being addressed. So I think moving forward, the best thing to do is, since Breeze, you're asking what is administration doing and why hasn't anyone been talked to? Now that all of council is here, I want you all to hear the exact same message, since now everyone is part of it. These conversations need to stop. If there are, and to not stop in meaning stop in these forums and need to go through the appropriate reporting processes. If anyone has questions on what those processes look like, you are more than welcome to reach out to me or any other administrator on this campus to find that out. So I'm going to pause there and see if anyone has any additional conversations or questions.
Does any council member have any questions? Hassan?
Your voice is super quiet.
Hassa, can you hear us? Babes, your voice, like, we can't hear it at all. Okay, wait. Do you want to try again?
Pasa, if you want to drop it into the chat as well, I'd be happy to answer it.
Okay. We can go ahead and wait on Pasa. I don't know if anyone else has any questions, comments. Okay. So with that, we can go ahead and move on to the elections board code. So I think that Palmer has been promoted. I'm not sure. Oh, something in the chat. So please promote Anna. I'm using this laptop. I don't know if someone can do that, sorry.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Pasa.
Great, thank you. Thanks for giving me that moment. Wait, are we still on what I was what we were talking about, the same discussion item?
We weren't, but I mean, I did open the floor up and no one else said anything. So Passa, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Breeze. No, I was just wondering if there would be any considerations to modifying or adding things to our Title IX or CARES trainings for future council members.
Yes, we will totally be making those alterations for the future in consultation with CARE and Title IX.
All right.
Okay, perfect. So we can go on to the elections board. I don't know who's in charge of promoting, but okay. Oh, there you go. Anna's in the room. Perfect. Y'all have the floor. So I know like folks have brought up to my attention, I guess the way elections code has been handling everything has been very difficult. I also know that y'all have like had to manage and be as, bipartisan as possible. But I know folks in the room had questions for y'all. So I don't know if anyone wants to open up the floor. Or if y'all yourselves kind of want to speak on like the letter, I guess maybe starting off with the letter that was released today by eBoard.
Yeah, totally. I can just go over the letter. So this letter was drafted last night after Angelina's post, and then we went over it together as a council or as a elections board, and everyone approved of it, said it looked good. Martin here and Anna put their names on it as well. And the purpose of the letter was because first of all, to show our solidarity with Angelina. I know she's going through a really tough time. As the elections board, we need to take a stance on anything election related, right? And she's being directly affected in her physical and mental health by things that are happening during the elections. Whether or not that is within our jurisdiction wasn't really the point of addressing in the letter. We just wanted to say that for that general situation, we are here for her. And if she has any concerns or anything that we can help with, we're happy to communicate with her. I reached out to her already. And then the second kind of statement on that letter was just kind of clarifying a point that Angelina made when she said that the elections board failed to support and protect her. We all have a reputation to upkeep. I personally, as chair, have a reputation to upkeep. I didn't want there to be a understanding within the student body, the people that pay our stipends and the people that elected you, who appointed us. I didn't want those people who we were responsible to think that to only have one side of someone alleging that we failed to protect and support them. So I just kind of gave our side of the story. Didn't say that Angelina did anything wrong. She was totally right in everything she did. She had the right to ask us to not share any details with Carl from that meeting. And she was totally in the right to not share anything after that because it didn't pertain to the election code. It pertained to the student code of conduct. So we were totally okay. Every step that Angelina took there, have no problem with what she did. Think it was totally great. The only issue we had was when she said that we didn't protect and support her when we had a meeting with her and we took the time to address these issues with her. And then she asked us not to take any further action and then went around and said that we then didn't provide any protection or support for her. We weren't trying to invalidate anything she said. We were just trying to give our side of the story to the student body who pays our stipends and elected you, who is then appointing us. So that's kind of our stance on that letter. I'm happy to answer any questions. If council feels as a whole that is not withstanding the proper conduct of the elections code or the elections board, totally happy to take it down. I just wanted to put that out there as soon as possible before the student body got any idea that the elections board was failing in their responsibilities. I just wanted us to have a chance to speak for ourselves before that whole understanding went around. So yeah, just would love to discuss it with any of you all who have questions.
Yeah. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not trying to see hands. I see a hand, but I don't know who has it raised. Angie.
Hi. Yeah, I really appreciate your support. I did receive your email, and I do appreciate your solidarity. I just wanted to share my side of the story. During that meeting that I had with you and Josh, after I had explained what I had been experiencing, which included the multiple fake accounts, as well as the harassment that I had faced from individuals following me and taking photos of me. you had stated, Palmer, that you would be open to having a conversation with Carl because he seems like a reasonable guy and that you had spoken to him in the past. And I stated that I didn't want you to have a conversation just because, or to hold off on having a conversation with him, just because I stated to you that I was afraid of retaliation from Carl. And I was never reached out to after that. Also, Josh and you had both told me that there was nothing that you could do about anonymous accounts that were harassing me online and that I would have to go through the dean of students. And so all I stated was that I didn't want you to have a conversation with Carl. I never said that I didn't want anything to be done at all. It was to my understanding that there would still be an investigation conducted because you had stated that you would take the document of all the evidence that I compiled and take it back to your team. So it was to my understanding that there was an ongoing investigation.
Yeah, so we have the document still, and by reviewing that document, I review that document with Martin, I have that document. There is nothing on there that the election board can specifically act upon. I think that personally, maybe that was a bad decision on my part to not inform you that we hadn't made any progress with the investigation up until this point. That maybe I should have been more, should have communicated with you more about the steps we were taking in that investigation. That's totally fair, and I apologize for that. I just figured that until we had some sort of progress on that was when I would update you. And it was really just me sitting there collecting evidence. Also, I didn't feel comfortable sharing the entire contents of that document with our whole investigations team, just based on just kind of the personal information in there. I know the video footage, I wasn't even supposed to see that. And so I think that was removed, but I just didn't want, I was like, it's a little confused on what I was supposed to be showing people. So I kind of just kept that to myself, looked it over, and then really didn't have anything that I could take from the elections code to apply justice in the document that you gave me. Again, I think we've talked about this most of the meetings I have with you all, but with anonymous accounts, there's not really anything that I can do, right? Like I can't go into Instagram and figure out who that is. I just don't have that abilities. And so I think that's what me and Josh were coming from when we asked you to refer to dean of students, because maybe they could get the police involved, or someone that could maybe trace that anonymous account or find footage of the people that were harassing you. Both of those situations are a little bit out of my jurisdiction and my abilities. Like, I'm not really the police. I'm not any sort of law enforcement, right? I just am here to offer you all a voice and give you someone to levy your complaints to. I think that even by taking that meeting with just me, you, and Josh and Jane, that kind of made me already feel like it was out of my control generally, because we were meeting with an administrator and not just between me and you, right? So if that kind of made me feel like this was a little bit above not only our jurisdiction, but just like our general sort of capabilities. So yeah, I apologize, Angelina. Honestly, I definitely should have been more communicative with you about my progress on the investigation, even when there was not really any progress, because there's nothing I could do about the accounts. And I felt like we had a good relationship so far, and I'm sorry if that damaged that at all. I really apologize.
Does anyone else have anything to say, ask?
I do want to say that I do feel extremely unsupported and failed by this university and by elections board. I have not been able to go to class, to sleep, to eat, because of the situations that I've been experiencing. And so I think, even though it might be like outside of eBoard's jurisdiction, the fact that nothing has been done is concerning to me, because it is very real and very personal to me. And to be told that this is petty election drama is very invalidating. And I'm not saying that you said that, Palmer, but I have heard this from several administrators. Yeah, and I feel very disappointed by the way that everything has been handled.
Yeah, I think I've also kind of gleaned the general feeling of administration about this. Like, okay, they just need to kind of work it out between themselves. I think we're way past that at this point. And that's another reason why I just feel like, because that's something I can step in on, right? If I want to like, okay, let's sit down, Carl and Angelina, and let's have a conversation about this and work this out. That's something that I'm all for and I can do. But at this point, I think this is so much past that I don't think that like Angelina, and I'm sorry that this is me not being supportive or not being protective, but this is like, I just don't feel comfortable as a student employee being the one to facilitate an argument or a conversation between you two all that is going to involve the law enforcement, right? Like I have my own responsibilities and liabilities if I'm involved in that. And obviously I want to do everything in my power to ensure that you're feeling okay and you feel safe on campus. But again, that's just not something that I, as a student, can provide for you, especially when the things that are happening are involving the student code of conduct and or most likely will require some sort of law enforcement, right? Yeah, again, I in no way feel like this is like petty election drama. I don't think this is something that we can just kind of work out right now. I think that it's going to be much like beyond that.
Cass? I mean, sorry, not Cass, Prom.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to ask, essentially, like when things like this are being brought to your attention, I completely understand like there's a level of like, there's a part that just like goes past what you're supposed to, like your job. And I completely get that. We're all students. But I think like as the election board chair overseeing this election, like a candidate has inequitably been able to campaign and their like because of harassment from another candidate. So as election board chair and as the elections board, it is your job to ensure equity for all candidates. Just because she did not want to sit down with him doesn't mean that nothing should have been done. So what was done on you guys' end? Because at this point, it doesn't seem like anything has been done and no penalties have been made. And like, it's just like, it's continuing and it's perpetuating a toxic cycle within the election itself. And this isn't even election drama at this point because the person who has has been the victim of harassment hasn't been campaigning because of this. So it's just like, how is this election that you are overseeing equitable?
Right. Yeah, totally valid. I think the main issue here is that I'm trying to ensure due process for Carl. I don't think that the evidence I have, and this is something I went to my advisor on, this is something I went to Josh on, or that I discussed with Josh in our meeting, that this evidence was not conclusive enough for me to just bring something down on Carl and say, okay, this is everything we have. Sorry, dude, you're getting sanctioned or your campaign is being terminated. Obviously, if all these accusations can be tied to Carl, his campaign should be terminated, right? No one should be doing any of that kind of behavior during an election. And I totally agree with that, but I don't think that there is substantial proof and evidence from my end about things concerning the election code. I'm not even going to touch the harassment and the stalking and anything legally related, right? That's a whole separate issue. But even from the things that are completely related to the elections board, right? In the conduct of candidates, I just can't tie any of that to Carl until I have an investigation done by the proper authorities, which in this case is the university or the police, right? I can't just make these kind of decisions based on the evidence that Angelina has. I think it's all like, of course, like I believe everyone, right? And I'm assuming that she's coming from a good place and is just trying to speak her truth. And I'm totally okay with that. That's awesome. But I need to see both sides in this issue as the impartial elections board chair. And what I'm hoping is that the proper authorities, who is not me, because I am not the police, I am not administration, can find the evidence to show me that Carl did these things. And then I say, yes, Carl, your campaign is over, right? That is what I'm going to do. That is my plan. That is every step I've taken thus far, I promise. I don't feel like the evidence that Angelina has given me so far is enough to do any sort of notice of finding, because first of all, nothing has been reported to the elections board officially. There was no official complaints from Angelina or Carl coming in. So our investigations team can't do anything with that. Second of all, the information that Angelina did give me, I can't share that with Carl. So how am I supposed to ask him? How am I supposed to confirm with Carl? Like, okay, did you do this kind of stuff? Like even get any sort of general reading. Like if I can see, like look in his eyes and see like, okay, it seems like he's lying, or he just outright tells me like, yeah, Palmer, I did do these things, right? Like I can't even ask him either of those things because I was told by Angelina, and I respect that. That's totally fair to just not bring it up to him because she didn't want the confrontation and she didn't want the retaliation. I totally understand that, but that's just what I'm working with, promise. That's the information that I have. And I didn't feel that was in a place for me to make any sort of actions against Carl in a way that is, I would consider due process, or anyone on my team would consider due process.
Okay, Jane?
Yeah. Hi, thanks guys. I just like wanted to ask a little bit about kind of something kind of related, but kind of not, just things that you guys do have control over. Obviously, like all that due process stuff, as we've talked about with Josh, so all that stuff that has to go like Title IX, Dean of Students. I think we can, I'll respect that and like let that figured out. However, I wanted to bring attention to some things that I personally feel like you guys could directly do better. So, as you guys probably know, in the last day, there's been a lot of information on like Reddit, Yik Yak, anonymous forums, and I know that you guys can't do anything about it. Like, you guys can't like trace that back to anybody or whatever. But why is there no you going in and being like, hey, please keep this respectful as elections board chair and as the person in charge of elections? Please keep this respectful. Please don't call any of these candidates like disgraceful names. Like, please try, please, like, why is there no, I know you talked to all the candidates and like had them register Reddit accounts. Why is there no mass email to candidates who are like, hey, please tell your supporters, like, I get you can't tell like Reddit 1234 to tell them what to do. But like, say Promise is running for CAC, you can tell Promise to go on Reddit and be like, hey, please do not say malicious, atrocious things about things that have not been publicized. Like, you can tell people to those candidates to do that. So why has elections board not said anything on any anonymous forum? Why have you guys not really done anything and like taken any of that? We're not asking you to like go to Title IX and like go to the Dean of Students and stuff like that. But why has there been no post on Reddit that's like, hey guys, as the elections board, like, we want to encourage everyone to, one, not use anonymous accounts, two, please be respectful of others.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I think even in that, like, obviously, I don't think we have the staff to go into every post in 24 hours and make those kind of comments, but I totally agree, Jane. I personally, and my entire team right now are sitting in Denev right now trying to facilitate the debates. We have a lot on our plate at this very moment, and I thought our resources would be appropriately used on making sure the debate went smoothly, especially because this is like, 24 hours. I don't think this Angelina's post has even been up for 24 hours, right? Yeah, right. This is still the first day. I'm totally happy with going home after the debates and going into Reddit and doing everything you just said. I think those are all great ideas, and I appreciate the feedback. On top of that, just getting candidates to agree. Again, Jane, everything you said is totally valid and are all great ideas. And it's something that I would love to speak with Martin about, who I have not even had a chance to meet with him about this event yet, because we just both have things going on, and this has happened in the last 24 hours. Again, this is something that I really appreciate you bringing to my concern, and I'm happy to act upon all those things. They're very valid. Thank you, Jane.
So team, one thing I just want to point out is, as we move forward in this conversation, I think that we should keep in mind that election board is definitely here to hear anyone's complaint.
No, and that's the thing. Okay, sorry, Josh.
My suggestion is, I think that election board should meet with this team. I think people that do have concerns, if Palmer is open to it, I think that there should be a meeting that takes place to talk about these details. And then if formal complaints move forward, we do, again, I have to consistently go back to the reporting processes of the university and from election board. That's the only way an investigation can get started. So I want to go back to, if there are concerns, or if this team would like to talk more about what is being discussed today, I think if Palmer and his team are open to it, there could be a conversation that takes place this week to move forward about this.
Yeah, I'm fully open to that.
Yeah, and I do want to like e-board, like I personally think that it's not even y'all's fault entirely. Like, I really do think, again, I am very upset at administration at this point, but like, I understand like y'all are also students. I think like it could have been done better, but also I know like y'all were working with limited resources, and honestly, like, a lot of it is like on administration. Passa?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to ask, so the operation of social media, at least within the purview of candidates, is within your jurisdiction, correct? Because I think we've had a conversation about social media regulations.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like if it's affiliated with a candidate, like that profile is affiliated with the candidate, fully within our jurisdiction to sanction them for something they post or fail to include in a post. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, remind me if things have changed, but I do recall that like we were in discussions about making sure that or having candidates agree to not make anonymous accounts.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah, of course. So then I guess like my next question is regarding like the issue of anonymous accounts. Like the current allegation of anonymous accounts is reliant on these like 4 characters matching, right?
Yeah.
And you guys said you looked at the evidence. So what I'm a little confused about is like, what's your bright line on it being true? Because for example, on an email, just real quick, like if I only wanted to look at the possible number of letters in an email, or actually, let's just be a little more accurate, letters and numbers, right? Because you can make an email with letters and numbers, not even counting lower cases. What you have 36 options, like 36 different characters. And then for digits, like for a phone number, you would have 10 possible characters. So theoretically, if there are 36 possibilities for 2 spots, 10 possibilities for 2 other spots, you could multiply and you could figure out that there are many different possibilities for 4 different slots of digits. For an email, 2 digits to an email, or 2 characters to an email, and then 2 digits to a number. And theoretically, right, like if you just, calculated probabilities from there, you'd find that the probability of it just being by chance, like just being a coincidence that all 4 of those things match is very, very low, like below like 0.001%. So what is your bright line on things on probabilities and things being true? Because if it's a very low probability of things just being a coincidence, then I don't know what to say as to like, to making these types of decisions.
Yeah. I think kind of my stance on the issue, again, not like a forensic expert, but this is just something that came into my head is I didn't have the full email there. And I didn't think that was appropriate for me to just decide that was linked to Carl. Again, like I would have liked to have a conversation about it with him right when I got the complaint from Angelina, or like right when Angelina had that conversation with me. My initial instinct was to confront Carl about it and say, what is this? This is obviously like, seems like your email and phone number. And then again, she asked me not to talk to him about it. And then what I should have done in that situation was probably still kind of do an investigation on my end and then follow up with Angelina and say, I really want to talk to Carl. I think this is legitimate. And I do think it's legitimate. And now that it's all public information, I'll definitely be having a conversation with Carl about it. But I just think that like in that moment, Pasa, and for me to make that decision on whether or not that those characters matching means that Carl made that account, there was just like a good amount of things in the air that I couldn't determine on my own without having a conversation with Carl about it first. And I think Josh shared those feelings with me when we were in that meeting.
Can I make an addition? Just to clarify the investigation process, in such cases that involve, serious violations, especially on social media, that involves someone's reputation or goes on well beyond limits like this, we definitely, as the elections board, and this is the process that the investigations committee has been following, is even if the evidence looks like 99% true, we still have to contact the defendant and give them opportunity to speak to us and give us their evidence or their perspective before making a conclusion. So before Palmer could even Palmer or the board itself or the investigations committee, we could have moved on to place sanctions or, bring accountability. We would have to go through the process of reaching out to the defendant. In this case, this would be Carl, and having an investigations interview with him, and then assessing the evidence, having basically both sides. And that is why the process has not been going through it. That's partly why it has not gone through. I just wanted to clarify the process that we would have to reach out to the defendant, hear the defendant, get the evidence from the defendant, and then analyze all the evidence that we have and reach a conclusion regarding the provisions that are directly under our jurisdiction. In terms of social media accounts, and this is something that I just want to put it out there, anonymous accounts, once again, there is very limited stuff that we can do as the board. The investigations process in this case would depend a lot on our interaction and our investigation, basically I don't want to say interrogation, but our interviews with both the petitioner and the defendant. And in this case, obviously, there was no formal complaint, but the things that Angelina had brought up to our attention, obviously, that necessitated an action. But the action could not have been taken without us going and basically having an investigations meeting with Carl, because he should have been informed that there is he's accused of something and that we're taking action, that he should have the opportunity to bring the evidence from his side so we could analyze everything and make a decision.
Yeah, again, passage, just also to reiterate, there was no formal complaint filed on Angelina's behalf. I don't think that necessarily that's something that is required for me to look into something, but for our investigations team to get started on anything, we need a formal complaint. So again, like I conducted my own sort of investigation, just looking through the evidence, and determined that I'd need to talk with Carl in order to move anything forward. Again, should have reached out to Angelina and told her to file a complaint if she wanted anything further done from me on that behalf. And I apologize, Angelina, for not reaching out to you and explaining the process a little bit more clearly to ensure that something would be done by us. That is on me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering our questions and being with us today. You guys have a really hard job. So good luck.
Thanks.
Carl.
Yeah, I just want to say, first off, thank you so much to the elections board for, just kind of remaining impartial as much as you can. I know that especially right now, you're being pressured by a number of individuals to kind of think and, feel a certain type of way. So I just want to appreciate you for, remaining impartial. And, just going forward, I stated before, like I reported to you last week that, there were, iCloud accounts texting me racial slurs and things of that nature. You remember that, right, Palmer?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to follow up on that as well and see, like, were you guys able to ever do anything about that? I never accused anyone of that because I don't know who it could be, right? There's a number of different people who it could be. But I just wanted to ensure that you guys documented that down. I'm not saying that it was a certain candidate or it was anyone, because I have no proof whatsoever, right? But if you could, I just want to ensure that you were documenting that as well. And I just want to thank you so much for remaining impartial and just not, being one-sided during this entire thing. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, Carl. Yeah, so with the any sort of report that, because I've received pretty much from like a third of the people on this call, a report of like some sort of anonymous account harassing them. And yeah, I just have a file of all those. And again, it's like anonymous usernames or iClouds that I can't necessarily trace to a student. And like, obviously, if this is persisting, Carl, I'd be happy to help you kind of bring that to Dean of Students. But again, like, I don't really think there's anything that they could do that is going to be like outside of what I'm trying to do here, which is just kind of like keep account for it. And if someone's name does pop up that matches that, we'd obviously hold that person accountable.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Carl.
Patty?
Hi, everyone. I just want to let you all know, and it seems like conversation is kind of going back to more of the process, but, having this be about the process of election board, submitting grievances, and then specific grievances, then we should air those out in the processes that are set forward within the election code and the J board and other processes. So just want to give that reminder out there as we're continuing on with the conversation.
Yeah, and I'd also like to encourage anyone that feels like the election board hasn't done a good job in handling their case to bring it to the judicial board, as they are as sort of the impartial judicial party on all these issues. If you feel like I haven't done you right in any sort of way, I encourage you to bring it to them and they'll set it straight.
Is there anything else folks would like to say? Okay. If not, thank you so much, Palmer. I really do appreciate like the work that y'all have been. Oh, Jane has something to say.
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, hang on. Was just like thinking something, and I like this was kind of what I had mentioned before, but I think something similar had happened to me like last year during elections, where people were really defaming me on the internet, and obviously like I didn't even like really think it was my opponent because it was anonymous like like people, you know? And something that had happened previously, like in my like election, is what happened was after I'd filed a sanction, eBoard had mandated that like my themselves and my opponent, I'm pretty sure, and like literally everybody else in the election, like all the other candidates, like went on this one Reddit post, and I can like send it to you. It was like deleted. That was like Janie is the worst candidate, and they all went on and they were like, "You're like bullying this girl, and like this is like unacceptable, and it needs to be taken down." And I just like wanted to. I'm just like gonna. I'm like not gonna share my screen, but I'm gonna text this to you right now, Palmer. It's gonna come from my email because I lost my phone. But like there are posts on Reddit, and then there's like a screenshot. There are like screenshots. I think it's from like Yik or whatever. I'm not really sure, but like there is like literally a Yik post here that says like Angelina Quint for prison 2020, and to me that is like clear bullying, and I would like confirmation like that you as elections board, like Carl as Angie's opponent, and all other candidates should be going and saying something against people literally telling a 20-year-old woman of color to go to prison. And like, I'm not saying I think it's any of you guys saying this stuff anonymously, but I think this is like what has happened with elections board precedent too, is like when Angie, like in the future, if people Google her name, they'll see this. This will pop up on the internet. It'll be there. Like people like you, it really needs to be mandated that all the candidates in this election go in and be like, you cannot anonymously say that people should go to prison on the internet and like expect that to be okay. And like Carl, I would really encourage you, and I like obviously, you know, you don't have to listen to me. This is just about like whatever mandated by eBoard. I'd really encourage you to say that like if this is one of my supporters, I don't want you to be slandering someone's name like this. And I think alternatively, the same thing should happen if there was something on the other side where all the candidates involved say like this level of slander is not okay on the internet.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree, Jane. I think it would help me if you would like summarize these points and text them to me or email them to me so I can kind of have because everything you're saying to me right now is really important and legitimate. And so I would just like to have that all kind of compiled for when I eventually draft an email to candidates tonight, and for when I kind of implement these policies you're speaking about, or when I end up meeting with those of you on council who want to be involved with me in implementing these policies. Yeah, I think that would just be really helpful for me to kind of have all this collected, because I don't want to like lose these thoughts. I'm trying to keep them in my brain, but I'll also write them down after this.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
All right, awesome. Thank you. No, I was gonna say, no, you're right, Jane. I definitely agree. Angie definitely shouldn't be getting those type of posts. You know, no one should be getting threatened in that manner, or being told that just being slandered, or, you know, being defamated against. So I completely agree. You know, I completely understand as well. You know, I since, you know, certain allegations that have no proof have come out about me, you know, I've had people threaten me, call me N-word, say that they're going to kill me on campus. And I just got one like 10 minutes ago. die in a car crash and rest in piss. So I kind of understand like, where you're coming from in that aspect. And, I'm definitely willing to, make a statement saying that, no one should go that way to, hurt you or, say mean things about you. And I'm not sure what platform you're talking about. But just let me know what platform it is, and then I can help you out, okay?
Yeah. And I think like overall, I think this has just been a very messy election. I mean, I myself ran in an election last year, and I could say every election season is pretty messy, but this one in particular has been very, very harmful to so many students. So I don't know. I think like I also want to bring up a discussion like moving forward, how can USAC do better? Really to like, I was about to like literally start a whole, we should abolish USAC completely, honestly, because what the fuck is going on? Sorry for my language. Like, this is ridiculous. And I think that either that discussion has to happen, or we need to have a discussion on how council members can do better overall to like make the space a bit like much better, make it more conducive to like actual change, and not make it one where students are attacking one another. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like kind of the last thing that I want to say is just obviously it's like our first year doing an in-person election in my experience. So there's some unforeseen things that come up, and we're all kind of just like learning on our feet right now and making adjustments as needed. I appreciate all of you for having patience with me in my own learning and trying to be the best chair I can. Obviously, at this point, I'm working well below minimum wage, as are most of my directors. So, and yeah, we're students just like you, got midterms this week, dealing with all this just like you all. So hopefully we can kind of just have a better relationship, and not, I mean, I guess if we deserve it, yeah, call us out. But like, I just don't think that that's a productive way for the student body to see us interacting, especially when I feel like I have friendly relationships with all of you. And I thought that you all could come to me with things that concerned you. A lot of you do. And I would appreciate if you would just come to me and we could have a conversation about it instead of posting on the internet. Because, I appreciate everything you all do. And I thought we had a working relationship that we could be a professional.
And
Yeah.
I just want to mention, I know that Jane had mentioned in the platform that asking student affairs to step up and monitor those sites as we become aware of issues that arise, we do report them to the proper reporting protocols. So whether that's EDI, Title IX, or the Dean of Students Office to do the investigation.
Okay. Wait, hold on one sec. I think Thomas and then Jane.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to kind of like what Palmer had said. And I completely agree. I think like I do appreciate like the work y'all have done. I think we're all extremely underpaid and overworked, and like I completely understand like where y'all are coming from. And I apologize if it feels as though like we're not being friendly or like we're not being as understanding as we could be. Because I speaking for myself, like I genuinely want to be, but there's so much harm being done. And like, unfortunately, accountability does need to be had. And I think like this moment is more so like a call in moment. And I think like Angie was well within her right to call y'all out on a public forum. And I'm glad that we're able to talk about this now and like hash it out a little bit more now. But I think like accountability was the first thing, and sometimes public accountability is what it is. And I think we should all just like appreciate that for what it is and like move forward. And yeah, so I did want to say that.
Yeah, I've honestly held no resentment against anyone. Like I literally read the source statement saying how the elections board didn't do enough. And I agree, like totally legitimate. Yeah, I'm just saying that like from my perspective that you know, I appreciate everything y'all do and reaching out and letting me know. But I think it helps us do our job a little more effectively when we have direct communication. But yeah, again, whatever platform you need to do to get your word out, it's totally legitimate.
I think it's me. Yeah, I just like wanted to bring it back to what Josh kind of said, what Taylani said in the chat, like if student affairs could monitor these sites while an election board. And I think like between like everyone here, I mean, okay, actually, I won't speak for anyone here. For myself, I think something that that I strongly believe is that no student should be responding to these threats, and that for student affairs in the positionality as you guys hold as employees of the university, salaried employees of the university who don't have to take midterms and like, you know, go to class and stuff like that, should be doing more than reporting to Title IX and reporting to student affairs and reporting to the dean of students. But because that's like all great, and we obviously that is appreciated, but what are you doing when, as multiple people, like as both Angie and Carl have said on this call, that they're getting threats today? Like, how are you protecting your students who are living on the Hill, who have to eat on the Hill, who don't have the resources, and people like Palmer and Anna and Martin who are working at minimum wage to try and solve these like issues of harassment as students while also trying to take midterms? Like, what is student affairs doing now besides waiting for due process? Like, what support can you provide students now who may be afraid to walk to their dorms or to eat in the dining halls or things like that? And like, why are you as administrators just telling us that you're reporting it and then that's all you can do, and that it should, you know, all be on Palmer, who also probably has midterms and like a life and like things to do? Not saying that you guys don't have other things to do, but is it not your job to protect all students?
So yes, it is our job to protect all students, and as claims come forward, I want you to know that there are proper reporting structures that take place that the university has in place.
Josh, it's not fast enough though. This is an issue. Like, I don't know if we have to talk to Monroe Gordon at this point, because honestly, like, if a student has spent 2 weeks like with anxiety attacks, like they're not eating, they're not sleeping, like what is the university doing?
Yeah, and Breeze, I fully support you in moving forward and having a meeting with Monroe about that. I mean, I just need you to, what I'm trying to inform you is what the university protocols are. We do not have control over those anonymous sites, and we don't want to monitor student social media. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that, which you all know if the university takes an active role in monitoring social media. The university would never do that.
So y'all have never done anything. Like you all like have let us take the, like, I'm not saying you, Josh, I know not you, but like I know like administrators have like these accounts. Like several people have told me that like they monitor accounts and they monitor what students are saying, but they let us take hit after hit after hit. So I really want to know what is going to be done moving forward. And I really want some meetings set up before I term out. Like, I think a lot needs to change.
Okay. Yeah, I would recommend you having those conversations with Monroe if you would like to move forward with those conversations, if you're not happy with the way that the university is moving with their protocols or processes.
Haley?
Yeah, I had a question just for Josh. Sorry if you already clarified this point, but I was just wondering if there was like a follow-up process whenever like something's reported specifically to EDI or to the respective department. Like, are they able to give students who like submitted reports like live updates regarding the progress of the investigations? Because I feel like that would be a lot better, so students know that they're like their claims are like being heard as well and taken seriously. And I think that's also really important that like admin also follows up with students in the meantime while their like investigations are carrying out, and provide them with like resources to have like immediate caps, like therapy sessions or something like mental health related, like that would help them throughout the process of like waiting.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I listen, there have been people who have reached out to me, and within the exact same day, I have been able to get them an in-person CAPS meeting within an hour turnaround of who has reached out to me. So I can definitely help and assist, and other administration can also help and assist with any services. My understanding of when reports go through, yes, the person who made the report does get updates throughout the process and gets a contact person of who they can reach out to in order to follow up. If there are specifics, we can chat offline, particularly about a particular office if there are issues, and I'd be happy to assist.
George.
Thank you, Breeze. Just wanted to say that these are serious issues, right? You know, we're dealing with issues of patriarchy, of, you know, gender bias, harassment and violence, you know, and these are big issues. And I don't want to be blunt, but sometimes we tend to pick the wrong targets when it comes to organizing or when it comes to addressing said issues, right? Because in reality, these issues are systemic and cultural. I'm not going, as an alumni of this institution, going to fully defend the university or the institution of higher education in general, right? I have my thoughts, and y'all are right. There could be so much things that could be better. But this requires clear organizing and very specific strategy to address this. And I just want to provide that as a perspective from an alumnus of the institution who has done social justice work for a while now, right? And I'm not saying that I completely understand. I don't go on Reddit. I don't go on Twitter. You know, there's other layers to that as well. But I'm also saying this too because I as someone who has worked at UCLA for a while now, and specifically in roles working between student leaders and other administrators, right? I do think that some more thinking and understanding should happen, especially when it comes to the leaders of USAC.
Yeah, and I agree with that, George, but I feel, and I'm not targeting one specific person. I understand that it is administrators. I just have an issue with the fact that, like, this has been a continual issue. And I think Promise can attest to this too, because Promise and I we ran the Year of Cup as well. And we can say, like, we brought it up to administrators then and nothing was done. We brought it up last year when we reran, nothing was done. And it just, I'm not running. I really have pieced out. Like, the past 2 months, I've literally just been living my life. Like, not really, but I'm just really think this is ridiculous the way elections are. Like, it should not be this toxic. It's not conducive to anything really, because the student body's out here debating. We're not even looking at the students' platforms. They're debating who's telling the truth, who's not. And there's a whole allegation out there. So I just want to know, like, who do we talk to then? Because everyone's saying that no one can answer this. And I guess my question is who can respond, who can address this? Like, I don't know who to talk to. And I would hope that someone can give me an answer tonight.
That's fair. That's fair, Breeze. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. What I am saying that more needs to be done for sure. And and I forgot to say this when I started talking too, but I think these are issues that the Alumni Association in general would 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 want to work with student leaders to address institutionally, right? Because I think there are a lot of, I don't know how, protocols and policies that may not be conducive now where they were a couple of years ago, where they have been implemented to address other unfortunate stuff that has been more prominent, or at least has been more less stigmatized. Let's just say that, right? So I'm sorry, don't have the answers. If there was an answer to solve racism, to solve shitty politicians, winning races, and they would have been solved by now, but they're not. But I think the last thing I'll say is that we should continue to work together. Specifically for me as an alumni, sitting on this council with you all, and connecting you all with other folks to, really get this in motion to really make a better change for future student leaders. I think we should do that, and we need to.
Yeah, because quite literally, like, this is ridiculous. I don't really know what to do. I mean, I myself went home for a while, and I was like, I've been commuting because my mental health has been so bad through everything really. And I just don't know. I think that something needs to be done. This is student government. No one is going to make a life out of this, and I just don't understand why it's become this big I don't know. I hope that Josh, you and I and maybe George and any other person that is interested can connect, because I think that something needs to be addressed. There needs to be, not only through e-board, because e-board can only do so much, but administration needs to interject at some point and really resolve shit. The whole thing that this is taking too long, it's just building, and then now candidates are, someone's releasing something, then the other person, then the other person, then the other person. This is not really a topic for these candidates to be talking about. This is a topic for administration to handle and people to move on and focus on their platforms. Jane?
Hey y'all, it's Promise. My phone keeps kicking me out. I also wanted to speak to lack of support. I think also just council members this year, last year, and probably the ones coming in have had to be subject to quite literal online harassment from other students because of the lack of accountability that ASUCLA has refused to give, and to step forward and help us out, because we are continuously being blamed for being crooked, for embezzling money, for doing a load of things, and then on top of that, people are adding racist things to it. And we've sitting on council for the last 2 years has been subject to that, and nothing has ever been done. Nothing has ever been done. We are constantly falling on the sword, and the next council members are going to have to do it too. And there needs to be something done by the folks who are on this, who are supposed to be overseeing, who are supposed to be helping us, to actually make sure that misinformation stops and that ends, and putting an actual end to it, because it's ridiculous at this point. Other things are happening as different results, but at the end of the day, people are coming, other candidates are coming onto councils with people who are falling on the sword for things that they never did, and coming onto council hating other council members because of things that they never did. So it's making this space insanely toxic. People are coming onto council with vendettas, and it's actually sick. And it's because we've constantly had to fall on the sword for the shortcomings of administrators. So I really, really want the administrators on this call to critically think about how that's going to change, because it just needs to stop. Because nothing is constantly being done. We're told nothing can be done. X, Y, and Z. Our retention's affected at this school. Our ability to function every single day, and it's just we're constantly having to take the brunt of it from other council members, from other students, from anonymous sources, and actually, it's extremely upsetting. So I did want to say that and express that as well.
Thank you, Prom. And I think I speak honestly for last year's council as well. Like Naomi, my femtor, like she had to go through so much and she is still recovering from USAC. We like had a call yesterday. So I think like that is a discussion that needs to be had because, you know, like the university doesn't pay for our therapy. So I really don't know like what resources can be done, but I do hope to connect. And if folks would like to connect with me so we can have a chat, let me know and hopefully we can talk to people before we term out. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, I think that closes off our meeting. I call this meeting. Oh, I end this meeting, or I don't know what I'm blanking. I'm sorry. I call this meeting to end at 8:40.
Adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry. I adjourned this meeting at 8:46 p.m.